Well, this week we're back into the Iron Lion. Good morning, guys. We're here at the Holden Bottom Walk. Welcome back to Cars and Things Restos. Yes, we've got the block back from Grant in at our machinist, and we're going to get stuck into putting it together. Let's show you where we're at. First of all, let's have a look at it. It's pretty grotty. It's been sitting in their workshop for a few weeks. We had to wait for some cam bearings to come. Plus, brother got COVID, so we didn't bother going in there for a week or so. Went and got it, picked her up. Now what we've got to do is clean it all up and get ready for assembly. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all these little Welsh plugs out. There's that one there. There's a bolt or a threaded grommet in there, and there's also one in here. Now that's all the oil galleries. All right, so what we do is I'm going to pull all those out, and we're going to give it a good big pressure wash down all the oil galleries and get any debris that's in the oil galleries, and we'll flush them all out, wash them out with the pressure washer, wash the whole block with the pressure washer, cleaned up nice, so it's all nice and clean. And then we'll I'll give it a good old CRC, or I'll get some CRC and spray all over the bores and everywhere to stop any flash rusting, and it will be ready for assembly. All right, let's get them out. Okay, so I've just, as you seen, I've just popped out all the worst plugs. I popped this one out, which it goes to nowhere. So I really have wasted my time, but forgot about that. I just saw a Welsh plug, so I ripped it out. I'll just punch one back in there. It's just to fill up the hole for the cavity in the bell housing. So the front two, just knocked them in on an angle, popped them out. Now this one here, it's I do have a new one here somewhere. What to do with it? This is a new one, and it's got a square in it. And all I've done is I've got an old 3/8 extender, and I've ground it into a square, and it slips in like that. It's a little bit smaller square than the 3/8. So what we'll do is just go over this with the old trusty CRC, give it a squirt, give it a couple of hits, see if it's got any Loctite or any seals on it. We'll just see if we can crack it. And it's probably tight as fuck. Oh, fuck. Yes. There we go. Got it. It's fucking pretty clean actually. There's no fucking shit in it. Timmy might have fucking blew it all out. Doesn't matter. I'd rather do it myself. I know for a fact that it will be spotless then. So I'll just take you down here. So, oh, come on baby, come in. So there we go. There's one oil gallery, and there's the other oil gallery going up to the oil pump. So I'll get the pressure washer now. We'll blast all these out, all the tunnels, and make it all nice and clean. And then we'll get some CRC on it, and then and put them back in. All right, keep knocking it out. Now we're going to get all the water off it. Dry all the cylinders out, we don't want them flash rusting. And then we spray some CRC on them. We've got water all over the cylinder, mate.
Yeah, well, someone just pressure washed it.
Turn it off and wipe it clean.
Coming through fine, I can see it.
You want to see water all over it. Loctite back on the, we don't want it to leak. You saw how tight it was when I undid it, so it's got to be done up bloody tight because it will piss out there, straight into the main oil gallery. That'll do that. Right there, now our Welshies. Whoop, fuck, where did that come from? So just down so it's just below. Wipe that excess off. And see some people
Who's that rag?
watch the other video, jump the gun a little bit. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. All in good time, guys. It's a bit of a build, we'll get there. But anyway, this is how I build them. You don't have to go by me. You can. There's about 1 million on the fucking internet how people build them. So this is what we're doing for ours. So that's all we want.
This is how you built your Brock 05, isn't it?
Yeah. That's pretty good. There's nothing wrong with that. Brock had a bit more work done to it than this though. But I think this is going to have a bigger cam in it than the Brock by heaps.
Oh well, we'll see. We'll put them up against each other. Out the front.
On a road in Mexico.
Like we used to do when we were 18, 17, 18.
And I kept on coming out on top, didn't I? No?
Wow.
In my built motor and your bought motor.
Yeah.
There you go. They're done. All galleries are all spotlessly cleaned out, as you saw. All the grommets are back in. I'm going to put that one back in the back. As you saw in the last video, we cleaned it all, put all the Welsh plugs back in the oil galleries. CRC'd the whole block so she doesn't corrode or rust. Now we're going to start assembling it. So I just cleaned all these with me a bit of brake clean. I'll show you what we got here. Big shout out to Ben from CRC for supplying us with some product. Pretty happy with him. Thank you very much, mate. He's getting us a heap of stuff here. Brake clean or carby clean. Brake clean. Oh no, that's just carby clean. CRC, a new product, black zinc, rust protection. Gasket stripper and lithium grease. Carby clean. He's give us some carby clean, throttle body clean. I do have a drum of brake clean that I use. So I just went along and squirted them all down the holes, threaded holes, and blew them all out with the air, and got so they're clean as. Alrighty. First thing we'll probably do is put the rear main seal in. So we've got a gasket kit here. I got off of who was it again? Let's have a look here. CP Components. Got it offline. Looked all good. Looks okay, apart from them rocker cover gaskets look a bit fucking crap. I'd rather rubber ones. Actually, I think I've got a set of rubber ones over there. yeah, they're just fucking shit ass paper ones. Not ideal. Don't need valve stem seals. Yeah, I don't think I'll use those. I don't use the intake manifold gaskets, cork gaskets either. I'll show you later on when I get to them, but I will need these to remain in there. So I got one with Felpro head gaskets, which we'll be using the Felpro head gaskets with copper seal. Where is it? There it is there. Oh yeah, spray them with them first. We'll show you that as we go. Might be a little while because we're waiting on the heads. So a bit of a surprise with the heads. We'll see what goes on there. Righto, let's see if we can get this rear main started. So this is the rear main seal. It's a 2-piece rope seal, and we've got to get it down in there. Now the way I go about it, there's probably a million different ways people do it, but this is the way I do it. I'll push this down in there, and then I get my socket, big socket, and I just work it around and flare it out so we've got just a little bit sticking up. But what we also do is I'll stick a little bit of sealant down in here, so once it's in there it'll stick and it won't rotate. I don't like to use a hard sealant because something like a super glue or a hard gasket cement, I don't like to use that because what happens if it does come loose or crack, it will spin, where if you can use a bit of sealant, what have I got, a bit of silicone or something like that, just to dab in there, it's got a little bit of flex, and if it wants to move it can, and it'll come back. Alrighty, let me get stuck into this and we'll see how it comes up. So that's got that one pressed in down in there. See if we can show you what it comes out like. So we press it down in here, it flares it out a little bit. You can see it's not quite down far enough as of yet, probably needs a little bit more. But what I'm going to also do is I'm going to lop these off square, and I'm going to put the crank in because I'm going to check all the clearances. I've got plastic gauge there. I'm going to show you how to plastic gauge the bearings to give us a clearance. And also when I clamp this down, the crank will push this down even further. I don't want to turn the crank yet. Just put it in there, clamp it down, and just let it sit. Probably won't, I'll leave this dry until tomorrow, and then I'll probably put the crank in for the final time, and then I'll turn it because I don't want this trying to spin. Alright, let's cut them off. So we want to cut them off flush with the block. And I just have a little bit proud, whoops, so when they butt up together they push down harder and lock it in harder. Only like a mil proud. As I said, there's a million ways to do this. There's a lot better people out there that build engines than I do. I have my way of doing it. I've done a fair few over my times and always had success. So, as I said, this is the way I do it. You don't have to do it my way. I'm just showing you what I'm doing as I'm building this engine. And we'll go from there. We'll see if it works. That's what it comes down to. I'm a little bit funny. Well, I'm not funny, but there are people funny out there on the internet. Different people, and they want to have a crack at you or about the way you do it. Have a crack at me. I don't care. This is the way I do it. No one's asking you to do it the way I do it. If I do it this way and it's successful, then there's no problem. I don't have a problem with it, so neither should anyone on the internet. But not only that, like people, they want to have their YouTube channels and they want to. Sorry, I'm having a rant, but this pissed me off the other night. I asked a guy, he had a Commodore with an LS in it, that he put a blower on it, and I said, "Oh, what cam are you running in it?" And oh, it's a Holden Motorsport cam. Oh, fucking duh. You know, they're so secretive. Oh, fucking, I'm not telling them what cam I'm fucking running. No way. Well, you know what, guys? I couldn't give a fuck. Don't tell me. But you know what? That's what we're running, guys. And I'll tell you what, you'll hear it, you'll see it running, and I'll tell you if it's any good. I've never ran that cam before, but we're going to run it. And if it sounds like fucking duck's guts and goes like duck's guts, go and get one. Alright? These other guys, oh, I'm not fucking telling them what cam I've got in it. No way. Fucking hell. The YouTube channel is out there to give everybody knowledge on what you're doing. Fucking tell people what you're doing. Who gives a shit? And mind you, we're down here in Victoria, and he's in Queensland somewhere. So, anyway, whatever. That's his prerogative. Alright. That's in. Now I've got to slap all my bearings in it, and we'll stick the crank in it. I'll do that and then I'll show you. Heads up, guys. When you're fitting the bearings, there's two ways the bearings go. That's our main and thrust bearing, and it's got a hole in it which lines up with the oil gallery hole, where the other one doesn't have a hole in it. So it's pretty self-explanatory, but thought I'd just show you guys. So there's the two halves there. One has a hole in it, one has no hole in it. Make sure we put the hole in line with the oil gallery, and we have no dramas. Alright, so I just washed that with brake clean. I've cleaned it off. It's got to go in dry. We don't want anything sitting up holding the bearing up. Pushing down nice and firm, and it should be spot on there, perfect. Because we don't want anything, you don't want it sitting up one way up this side, because what will happen is it'll spin if it's a little bit firm. But they've got a fair bit of crush on them, so beautiful. And I've got Grant gave me some Nulon extreme pressure anti-seize lubricant. There it is there. So this is what we're going to assemble it with. We'll put all this through the bearings and put the crank in. Alright, keep butting away. Righto. So, going to just put a little bit of oil on. I'm not putting assembly lube on it just yet. Just a little bit of oil, especially on that rear main. A little bit in here. Oh, what the fuck? Battery's going flat, is it? Okay, hang on a minute. Sorry about that, guys. My gimbal went flat. Okay, so this is our flexi gauge here. Okay, I'll open it up and show you what it is. All it is a little rod, piece of rod, plastic rod. You can see that in there, the green stuff. There it is. And we just put a bit of that, and then we clamp it down, and then we take the cap off and we measure it, and it gives us a reading here. We'll let that focus on what clearance we have, an approximate clearance. It's not as good as measuring it with the tools, I know, but it's a very good indication to tell me whether I've got not enough clearance or I've got way too much clearance. And that's all I want to know. If I've got it perfect around that green one there or the white one there, which is 0.038 or 0.050, in between there, I'm happy with that. Alright, I'll whack a bit on there and we'll see how it goes. And also what I'm going to do is this is getting, this is getting, I'm putting studs in it. I'm putting studs in here, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to leave it at the minute and just use the normal bolts to clamp it down, because I don't want to over tighten them or stretch them in any way. So I'd rather use those for final assembly. So at the moment we'll use the bolts. They'll be fine. They'll work like a gem. And yes, do every journal, because you just never know that one journal might have been machined wrong. Alrighty, so now what I'll do is oil up this rear main. I don't want to oil the caps on this side. We're just going to slide them on down like so. Straight down without trying to turn them or turn the crank. And these are numbered, that's number 1. It's got to go up this end. Number 2. Showing the people.
But clean nothing up, did you?
Hey?
You cleaned nothing up, man.
Cleaned up where I'm working. So with this one here, I'm going to torque it all down. That'll pull that rear main into position. Rightio, we'll torque all them down, see what it looks like. Rightio, tension wrench set at 95 Newton meters, crank them down. Alright, that's done. Righto, we'll undo them all and show you what it looks like. Rightio. Here we go. This is what we're looking at. There is the plastic gauge all squeezed out. As you can see, that rear main seal is pushed right back in tight now. You can see how it's pushed on the edges there, on the end there. When we go to put that back on, we'll put some sealant on there and put it back on. So that, I'll put that back on today, torque it all down, and that'll sit overnight, and that silicone seal. Okay, I'll show you. So what I do now is I get me little gauge. I'll tear it off. Here, hold that, bros. So what we're trying to find is we've got thou and we've got mil. Okay, so if we put this up against there, we go to the widest part of the plastic gauge, which is that, and which is 0.025 thou on that. It might be a little bit under that. Rightio. Swapped a few bearings around. See if we've got a bit better clearance. We got 2.5 to 3 thou clearance on the front one. So that's a fair bit of difference. The rest of them are about 1.5 to 2 thou. That journal there had the most clearance. So I rang up the boys at the machine shop, had a chat to them. They looked it up. Performance motor is anywhere between 1 thou to 4 thou. So they were pretty happy for me to leave it as it was. They said it'll be fine. So we're going on their word. So let's slap it together. Righto. So now next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the ARP studs in and screw those down and in. So they've got a little Allen key bit there. So we'll put some grease on the threads on that one there, and we'll screw all these in, and they're just got to be screwed down hand tight. So I'll get stuck into that. Righto. So we're up putting the main on. So, you know what? I'm going to pull the crank out of it and fill it with some lube, because I only put oil there. Let's put a bead of shit around there. Only because I'm not sure when I'm getting the heads. It could take 6 weeks to get the heads for it. Otherwise, if I was going to put it together and stick it in the car in the next few days, I'd just leave the oil on it. But because I don't know when the heads are going to turn up, I'd rather have some of the anti-seize grease or engine stuff on it, just so it stays there. So, right, rear one. What we've got to do is we're going to just clean up where the rear main seal is, and I'm just going to put a bit of sealant on the cap. There, a bit there, and on top of the rear main seal. Goop in there. Righto, rear main is going on for the last time. That's number 4. Got to make sure we put them on the right way. Rightio, now we have our ARP grease, which is just Mollybond grease, our nuts and our washers. Now it's very important that we put this grease on the washers as well as the bolts, so we don't have any bindage when we're doing them up. So we've got to have it on both sides of the washer. Rightio, now we get the nuts and we put grease on the tops of the nuts and the threads, or the base of the nut, whatever. Doesn't matter, deliberately stick it on there, so we just don't want any bindage when we're torquing them down. 80 Newton meters. We'll do that in 3 steps. No, not putting a girdle on it. It'll be right. It's only probably going to rev to 6.5 grand, I reckon we'll have it. We'll do. We can get 500 horsepower out of it, it'll be enough. 450 to 500, that's what we're hoping for. There we go. All torque down 3 steps, 40, 60, and the last one there was 80. Pretty happy with that. Now I'm not going to turn the crank yet. I don't want to because of that rear main. I want it to seal. So we'll leave that now overnight. I'll wrap it all up. And then tomorrow we can come back and see if the crank turns and start doing some rods. Alrighty. See you in the morning. Okay guys, just need to clarify something. I just watched my video back. And I'll just open this up again. Torqued all these caps down with the new bolts. And I said I torqued them down to 80 Newton meters. Sorry, fucked up. 80 foot-pound. It was not Newton meters. So I'm so used to working in Newton meters. That's what I just continue saying all the time. But 80 foot-pound. There it is. There it says 80 foot-pound. So I torqued it down to 80 foot-pound. 80 foot-pound is about 108 Newton meters. Alrighty, just to clarify that. Sorry guys.